I'll never forget that day, finding out that my father was a murderer. And I hated him, but I still loved him because he was my dad.
33 years ago, a rundown hotel across from the railroad tracks became home for Billings, Montana's newest family.
We didn't know anybody here, and this is what we're coming to. It's freezing, and there's nothing to do in the hotel room, and you know, here we are playing in the snow. That was all there was to do, was play in the parking lot in the snow. So, welcome to Montana, Jackie Taylor.
Jackie Taylor does not know her real name. Her birth name evaporated the moment her father entered the federal witness protection program. Jackie's father was Clarence Butch Crouch, a high-ranking officer in the Cleveland chapter of the infamous Hells Angels, the country's most vicious motorcycle gang.
It's a real-life look into the club back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
After participating in dozens of violent crimes in the 60s and 70s, the club's bombing murder of an innocent child convinced Crouch to turn against his biker brothers in 1982. He became the state's star witness in 3 trials.
He couldn't do it anymore. And he just had an epiphany that he wanted to be a family man.
Cuyahoga County court documents show he made a deal with the feds. In return for inside information, he received a reduced prison sentence for his own criminal past and a promise of new identities and protection for him and his family in a town 1,600 miles away.
I remember them coming to get us like it was yesterday. 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, we were woken up by guys with suits, and we were scared. We didn't know what was going on. We had no idea. I was 7 years old. My sister was 5. My brother was 2.
Happy birthday. Soon you'll be 10.
This home video was taken the night before Butch Crouch went to prison.
Soon you'll be 11. Soon you'll be 12.
A kiss for Jackie for each of the 8 birthdays he would miss.
The trick is, you know, that she was a victim. There should be therapy to prepare them for this.
Therapist Tom Farrow says the Witness Protection Program ignores the unique mental health issues of children. Farrow was one of the few people who knew Jackie's true past. He treated her weekly at her new elementary school and was present when Jackie's mother revealed to her young children that their father was a killer.
She called us all into that room at the school with the counselor, and she told us, your dad's not really working on his shift. You know, he murdered someone. He's in prison. We're a witness protection program and blah, blah, blah. You know, you can't tell anybody.
We practiced writing our new names once they figured out what our new names were going to be. So I remember one of those little childhood little notepads with the lines, and I had to fill up that whole book with Jacqueline and Taylor.
You know, well, it's actually impossible for a kid to wrap their head around that, having to be told, you cannot tell the truth. You have to lie. You have to be somebody you're not.
For witnesses with targets on their backs, a complete identity change is part of the bargain. What's less clear is the marshal's responsibility to their families, as Jackie was about to find out.
No birth certificate?
No birth certificate.
And no passport?
No passport.
Jackie says the government never supplied her with a new birth certificate. She lost her passport and she has not been able to replace them.
I tried to call the marshals, the Department of Justice, the FBI, anybody, victims advocates, Social Security. Nobody knew what to do.
It's a nightmare that has now left her 3 children without health care.
My children's Medicaid got canceled because I do not have a birth certificate.
Where does it say that?
Jackie says right here.
Jackie's citizenship does not exist.
When it affects my kids, I'm not okay.
Journalist Bill Mushi spent years covering the Witness Protection Program and has interviewed dozens of witnesses who share Jackie's frustrations.
There really is no thought or funding given to family members of people who were in this program, and frankly, the family members are just as much an innocent victim as the people who were the victims of the original crimes.
Jackie grew into a rebellious teenager. She jumped from high school to high school. She drank heavily and even got addicted to methamphetamine. But she kicked her habit years ago.
Okay, girls, huddle up real quick.
She now coaches her daughter's basketball team, is active in PTA, and works several jobs to support her kids. After 10 years of roadblocks, she almost gave up calling government officials for help.
Well, I'm on the Witness Protection Program and I do not have a passport.
Okay.
The marshals are not answering my calls. Nobody seems to know what to do.
The Marshals Service wouldn't provide Al Jazeera with specific information on the Witness Protection Program, citing witness safety. But then in late January, when Al Jazeera contacted Senator John Tester's office with questions about Jackie's status, she got her first maybe.
We'll start our process on working with the State Department on this end and see what we can do to help.
Okay.
And
Second generation and third generation witness protection program, people are really struggling. And, it's just an issue that they did not foresee. The more they ignore me, the louder I'm going to get. This needs to get figured out, and I'm not going away until it is.
Carol McKinley, Al Jazeera, Billings, Montana.